Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Special Educator. I'm Tom Hankins, Chief Cook and Bottle Washer here. I'm going to do an episode, or actually a series of episodes, on what I'm call band etiquette. This first one is going to be about auditioning, and I'll have others later. Before we get going, I just want to draw your attention to the statement I have to make. Anytime I use any form of AI or backing tracks, things like that, I want to make the disclosure that we, under the fair use doctrine, do it solely for educational and instructional type purposes. Is not for making any type of statement or representing I did any of it. First things first, real quick to business. On Facebook, X, and Rumble, you can find us at TSEGRP, on YouTube at TSEDGRP. Instagram and LinkedIn are The Special Educator, and the website, tsegrp.org. Email host at tsegrp.org. I'm going to please ask you to like, follow, share, subscribe, leave comments, contact, support, contribute in any way, shape, or form you can, and I thank you ahead of time for all of that. So, before we get going with this, I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation on this, and I'm going to just get the music turned down here for you. I keep it real low. In fact, you know what I think I'm going to do is... I'm going to leave the kind of that going in the background. Be nice and easy for you. All right. I've been in several bands over the years. Those of you that know me personally have seen me out performing with any of the groups, the Three Fat Cats, the Catbirds, or the Z-Beats, know that I have a fairly active list of gigs that I perform on a regular basis. I invite people out to them. Whether you show up or not is not really the issue. At least you know that I'm out there. I've seen a lot of things over the years. I've been on both sides of the fence when it comes to auditioning. I've been the one who's held auditions, and I've also been the one who's gone in to audition to join other groups. I'm going to give you some common sense advice. I'm going to give you some personal advice at the very end. But for right now, let's just kind of jump right into this. First things first. When it comes to auditioning, a lot of what I'm going to say here will apply to both sides of the desk. Think of this as a business interview. You're trying to get a job interview. There are two parties involved at least. There's at least the person coming in to do the audition, and then there's the people or person that is organizing this and planning this out. So first things first, I'm going to go over a quick agenda. I'm going to give you a bit of an introduction. We're going to talk about preparation. We're going to talk about conduct during. And we're also going to talk about some things to do afterwards. And then I'm going to get into more of the pitfalls and things that you might want to avoid before you get too far into a catastrophe. So the first thing I want to do when I'm introducing it is the importance of etiquette. You can also use demeanor or behavior, but etiquette comes down to being professional, being respectful, and standing out. So it should go without saying that if you are more professional, that is always a good thing. As far as being respectful, that only adds to your credibility and respect. And when it comes to standing out, you want to shine. You want to put your best foot forward. And quite frankly, that also goes for the band that you're thinking of joining. They want to put their best foot forward as well, at least during the audition. So there's a couple of common misconceptions that go out here. And this is going to tie into some other points later on. Your skill is not everything. Doesn't matter how skilled a musician you are, there's a point where, you can be underskilled or overskilled. And right now, you're just trying to fit in. Conduct during the auditions, please. Be pleasant, be professional, Be respectful. Anything that you can do is going to increase your being perceived as a competent musician and a potentially good hire for a band. So the real goals I'm dealing with here is I'm going to try and discuss things to help you navigate the audition process. I want to talk about I'm going to keep stressing this, the professionalism aspect of it, and a couple of the tools that might be helpful to guarantee your chance of success. Now, like I said, I've failed myself many times, so you're going to kind of learn from my experience on this as well. So we're going to talk about preparation. There's a few slides here about preparation, and I'm just going to go through them quickly. I want to talk about researching the band. So I'm looking to join a band, or let's just say you're looking here to join a band. Do your research. You want to know their style. You want to know the genres that they play. If it's not, one particular style, they might have a bunch of different things going on. Try and get some idea of the history of the band. Look back at social media posts. Get an idea of where they play. What type of, feedback do they have, positive or negative? And then reach out to the band members. Now, there may be one person that's your primary contact, but there could also be quite an open situation where any of the band members are more than willing to talk with you before you come in for an audition. Just be aware. Reach out as best you can. That is really the biggest issue that you're going to want to deal with. Practicing and selecting pieces. Boy, this is a tough one because everybody gets stumbled on this one. So if you're a band that has a regular performing gig situation, it is always beneficial to provide a full accounting of what you currently are doing out there to anybody who's planning on coming in. You want to give them the biggest picture, the most inclusive picture of what you're doing. They need you to feel for what you're doing. And as far as when it comes to the person that is coming in, don't be afraid to ask. Do you have a song list? Do you have set lists that I can look at? Do you have those types of things just to help give my research material some sort of body, starting point? Once that's out there, everybody should look through that list. And here's my recommendation. Before you go and practice any songs, decide what it is that both sides want to hear. For somebody who's coming into the audition, it might be a situation of, well, here's what I know. Here's my low-hanging fruit. I want to do that. Don't always go for that. Your job is also to show the band members that you can learn and adapt. So don't be surprised if band members come up with something you've never played before. Now, the band members, that brings up an important point. Challenge the person coming in. Find something they are not entirely familiar with or entirely comfortable with, and suggest at least one song that makes them work for the position. It has to be a two-way street. You don't want to make it too easy. You don't want to make it too hard, but you want to find out, can you relate to each other? Can the person coming in be prepared on something that is a little bit, off their radar, a little bit out of their wheelhouse a little bit, make sure that they can do something a little different. And for whoever's coming in, just give it your all. You're going to have to deal with this. Let's go on to the next step here. Very important, and this applies maybe more to the person or persons that are coming into audition than it does the existing band members, but create a checklist of what you're going to need. List your equipment, the materials, anything you're going to need before you go off to an audition. Maintain your professional demeanor. You don't want to be that person that nobody wants to hire or that nobody wants to work with. Just professionalism is there. And last but not least, I've seen this happen way too many times, and it's happened to me a couple of times over the years, but make sure that what you are taking to your audition, and this also applies to working bands, what you are taking to your gig is functional. Should go without saying, but I think most of us that have been out there have seen this happen before. So if you're auditioning, just understand, make sure your gear works and it's ready to go. Don't waste time when you get there setting up something just because it isn't working right. Now, during the interview, we need to figure out a couple of things that are important to deal with. Arriving on time, being respectful. Punctuality is everything. It speaks volumes about your level of courtesy and professionalism. If you are going to be late, and Lord knows there are things beyond our control, do not hesitate. The moment you even suspect you might be running late, reach out to somebody, send them a text message, give them a call, do whatever you need to do to make them know as soon as possible if something is not quite going as planned. Be aware. There might be other people coming into audition, and you do not want to be inconveniencing the existing band members by having to rearrange the audition schedule. Flip that around. For those of you that are going to be doing the auditioning, be aware that things do happen. Yes, punctuality is great, but crap happens. Let's be honest. Always have a buffer in there. Don't make things so tight that somebody running a little bit behind is going to cause a problem. Be willing to adapt. Smooth audition process. This should go without saying. Being on time, having all your equipment running right, knowing what you need to do for the performance just makes things so smooth and so easy for everybody, and allows everybody to do their best when it comes to performing in the practice. Demonstrating seriousness. Now, people might think that this is great. People love to joke around, be a little jovial. That's fine. That's not what we're talking about here. I'm not saying don't joke around and have fun socializing with the people we're doing it together, but still be serious when it comes down to playing. Take what you do seriously, even if you don't take yourself seriously in a social situation. Let your performing do the talking for you. If that helps with what you're thinking, that's the way you want to go. Now, next one. You want to engage with the band members. Don't be the shy, quiet one sitting around or feel afraid to talk. You need to decide very quickly between each other if there's a kind of a social connection. Is everybody gelling? Are they able to get along? Are they able to communicate with each other effectively? This is all really, really important. You want to create a positive atmosphere. Now, this goes for both. Like I said, granted, you might be having, if you're in the band and you want to bring people in, you want to make sure it's a positive, open, welcoming atmosphere. You want to encourage the best possible outcome during an audition. Similarly, if you're the one coming in, being friendly. Maybe a little self-deprivation is fine, but don't overdo it. Be approachable. Be open. Again, I'm going to get back to the last point. Demonstrating professionalism is key to it. Be respectful, be attentive, do what you need to do to put forth a good, positive first image. Handling mistakes. Mistakes are going to happen. Let's be honest. Just embrace the fact that things can go wrong. Your ability to understand that and not overreact is a very, very positive thing. It's going to lead to your growth and improvement, and it will pay off dividends quite a bit. Your resilience and your adaptability mean a lot more sometimes than your talent. Demonstrating the ability to take feedback, positive or negative, and not overreact one way or the other to it shows that you're able to adapt. And your growth as a performer is important. And this is one of those things you need to have to grow. Learning from the feedback. I'll be honest with you. It's the best thing that you can do, just to listen. Sit back, take constructive criticism, whatever may happen, and just have a continuous desire to improve. Let's go to things after they happen. So the audition's done. You're either on the way home or you've been home or whatever is going and you've been thinking about it. You do need to do some things to follow up. First and foremost, gratitude. The simple thank you goes a long way. It seems simple, but it's one of the most important things that you can do. You want to build lasting impressions, and that thank you is something that is memorable. People will remember when you're thankful and gracious about it. Finally, building connections. I'll keep coming back to this. You want to consider whether you get a gig or not, whether you get hired or not, that you are a professional and your growth requires that you network with other musicians. You want to build connections. Again, whether you get hired or not, or if you're the group that's bringing people into audition, always network, always leave a open connection building mindset. Next, responding to the outcome, regardless of how it goes. I hope everything goes well and you get hired. That's great. But even if you don't, you want to be, again, professional and positive. Use the feedback to grow. If you get hired, great. That doesn't mean, everything's off and the pressure's off and everything's fine sailing. You still have a lot of work to do before you can get out on the road with somebody. And I'll keep beating you over the head with this one. It's all about relationships. You need to stay focused on building relationships amongst other working musicians. Stay connected, whether you get hired into the band or not. Stay connected, network with each other, and always remain as positive as you can. Being a performing band, being out there, it's not easy these days. It has certainly changed over the last 30 years. And I'll be honest with you, it's tough to remain positive, but it's something you have to do. Let's move on to some pitfalls. So we're coming down here to a discussion about what to do to avoid setbacks. This one comes up. It's overconfidence or lack of confidence. I've seen both sides of this, and I'm convinced that you want to play it down the middle. Just letting you know, doesn't matter what side of the desk you're on for this auditioning/interview process. Don't be the cocky jerk that everybody loves to hate, so to speak, or learns to hate. And don't be the soft milquetoast, quiet as a mouse, I'm not worthy type of an attitude as well. That is just as dangerous because you'll get a reputation for either being weak or being overbearing. Just saying. Poor communication. This is what happens when open channels of communication really become important. If you are unable to communicate, if that's not your strength, you're going to have to learn to adapt somehow. It is important that the dialogue remains open. You have to be able to listen to instructions and continue doing so in a productive manner. Is that always going to be the case? No. I'll do another thing about once you're already in a band and working together, it is like a semi disjointed, sometimes dysfunctional family. Sorry, that's just the way it is. And then it should go without saying, inadequate preparation is, you're just going to shoot yourself in the foot. You're doing yourself no positive act by not being prepared. I've gone into situations where I haven't been prepared, and I've seen other people come into situations where they were not prepared. The consequences are obvious. You're just not going to end up getting a lot of work. And bringing up again, the importance of the thorough preparation is the key to all of it. What I really want to make sure to tell all of you as we get into this concluding matter here is, regardless of where you think your strengths or weaknesses may be, it doesn't really matter. You want to work on your weakest link. This is a common thing that it's just, again, it's common sense. Your strength Maybe you're very professional, but you're really difficult at relationship building. Or you may be really good at getting along with people, but you're a little unprofessional. Same thing goes. You might be somebody who is so prepared. You just know everything inside and out, up and down, but you're not very professional, or you just have no idea how to build relationships. These three things, preparation, conduct, and relationship building, are kind of like the three pillars of successful band management, successful band longevity. And like I said, I'll get into other things when we're dealing with that. So in the meantime, let me get back here and bring up some of the original music we had going on before. So I wish all of you well. If you're thinking of joining a band, or your band looking to hire somebody, take some of this advice. A lot of it is common sense. I'm not telling you what you really shouldn't already know, but people forget. So again, preparation, professional conduct, and relationship building. We are a community of performing musicians. We need to work together. Oh, and last point. If you're in a band, don't talk smack about another band or another musician. Anybody that's willing to get up in front of a crowd, small or large, and perform, honestly deserves a modicum of respect, a basic level of acknowledged respect. And that's the way I feel about any other performing band out there, regardless of how experienced they are, regardless of how good they are. If you're out there doing it, even if you've just come out of the basement or just out of the garage, you deserve respect. Fair enough? All right. So let's get back to this one last time. I'm Tom Hankins, instructor, tutor, consultant, and musician here at the Special Educator. Please reach out to us at Facebook, X, and Rumble at TSEGRP, YouTube at TSEDGRP, Instagram and LinkedIn are the Special Educator. Website is tsegrp.org, or emailing us host@tsegrp.org. Again, like, follow, subscribe, comment, contact, support, contribute, and thank you very much. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Once again, take care out there, folks. I hope to see you out there on the circuit.